To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
It's throwback night here today for the Saturday Night Racing League at the Legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway in the final race of the regular season. The excitement here continues for SNR. I am joined alongside tonight by our season-long commentator, Connor Horn, and I'm Bradley Cooper. Of course, Connor, we've seen a number of different things this season, but nothing quite like this. These guys are going to go kind of a time machine, if you will, to bring back the past and what the memorable moments, even Atlanta bringing some of those moments in history.
It should be a fun one. Throwback schemes, throwback track, not at the super speedway surface that we know and some love, some hate today. We're going to see a lot of mile-and-a-half action. We're going to see a lot of slipping and sliding. We might even see blown tires. So it's going to be a tough task for these drivers to get a grip on this track. It's not a track they really run anymore, even on the official racing schedule. So guys like Jeff Wright, Adam Cabot, Bailey Turner, everyone who's here tonight, everyone who is racing, they're going to have a challenge on their hands, no doubt.
30-plus cars coming out here today for the throwback, and we've got plenty of schemes submitted. We've got some 2014 Daytona Dale Jr. throwbacks. We've got some Clint Boyer, Terry Labonte, which I'm biased. That's my favorite already right out the gate. If I see a Tony the Tiger, I'm going to go for it. Just a variety of different cars out there. Even some guys from the Xfinity series. You got a red Xfinity Tame the Beast car out there by Noah Mihalski. So plenty of cars to look at here tonight. Make sure to throw it up in the chat what your favorite is. But let's take a point. Look at this right here. Jeff Wright, 20 ahead of Joseph McWhorter after last week. Added 5 to the win column. Only 2 multi-season winners. And you're looking at Joshua Banks, who kind of had a falling out there. Some fireworks last week, Connor, between the 35 and the 44.
Yeah, shame I missed it, but Banks got a little too aggressive, had penalties to go with it, so he's going to be trying to maybe gain the trust back from his competitors. We'll just have to wait and see, but definitely sounded like, from what I heard, he got a little too rough and rowdy. Iowa was pretty crazy track in those cars, but it wasn't too crazy for Jeff Wright. He dominated that race, led all but, well, it might have been all but 25-something laps,
yeah.
but just showing his dominance. Not very surprising to see him starting to extend that point lead and starting to once again put himself at the forefront of this championship fight.
Well, he did his research, going back there to look at the highlights of last week. Connor Horn, always on point. Let's put your race analysis up on the screen. 140 laps here today. Pit road, very treacherous. This track's so slick that I saw a lot of guys losing it in practice. Multi-cars coming down at the same time. Could get a little crazy, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. But now set to grid with 85% fuel in these machines. Let's take you trackside now. Get that grid up on the screen. Starting on the pole here tonight, well, there's no surprise here. It's Concrete Cabot starting with a 31.891. To his outside, that throwback in the 24, Bailey Turner and the Jeff Gordon machine is going to start in second. Row number 2 belongs to Joseph McWhorter with Caleb Weekly in the 4th position. Danica Patrick throwback, and there's, I believe, that 32 is a Mark Martin throwback on that machine. Row number 3 belongs to Eric Hutton in the 88 and Joshua Banks in the 35. Then you have Chad Klinger in the 09, another throwback machine, I believe. That's going back to a Hendrick car. I can't remember the one on that. I'll have to reference that again. Johnny Rapp in the 52. And then rounding out your top 10, Angelo Horonis in the 14 of Ben Bafford.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even know Ben Bafford was racing tonight, so that's going to be his first start in this series.
Second actually.
Second, actually. Didn't even see if he was racing last season, but yeah, it's going to be fun to see what he can do. I don't know why I can't see the top 10. My stream is bugging. It's not on you, it's on me, but either way, it's going to be a pretty stout field tonight.
Yeah, Ryan Carwile, Brian Chambliss for row number 6. Chuck Sweeting in 13th with Max Cost. That's a Hendrick car if I've ever seen one in the 63. Gavin Pittman in the Oreo 22 is going to start in 15th. Jeff Wright in the Terry Labonte number 5 Kellogg's machine starting 16th. Deep in this field. Jacob Emery in the 17th. Bryce Shoemaker in 18th. And that top 20 is Mark McFadden and Alex Bell.
Alex Bell, he's someone we've really been looking at to kind of break out maybe a little bit, get some wins on the board. Just hasn't really been able to do that. Had a lot of PC issues for the most part. Really struggled so far this season as far as just even getting on the track. So we'll see what he can do tonight. It should be a track I would think he would excel at.
Okay, so Lacatus, Philip Brewer, 21st, 22nd, Brandon Wallace, Jerry Bergeron. Alec Martinez out on the racetrack in the 18 with Derek Garrison in 26th. Clark Greneckin, I believe is the pronunciation on that one. We'll go with that, 27th. And then Jerry West in 28th. 29th, Dakota Floyd. Hey, recognize that name. Stefan Davis in 30th. 31st, Dustin German and Austin Belkey. Rounding out that field is Kyle Peacock in the 83. But green flag is out. It's throwback night here at Atlanta. And already 3 wide into 1.
That's really tight. They're very aggressive to do that lap 1.
And coming around the lead, lap number 1, it's going to be neck and neck at the line. A little shade of Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon. But that's Adam Cabot on the inside to lead the first one this time by, and we're on lap number 2 already, just like that.
I don't think Cabot was really ready to have the challenge like that, but he just barely got that race lead away. You really want to get the clean air at this track, just save the tires at all means necessary, but it's not really the right front you're going to be wanting to save. That right rear is going to be dying after a full fuel.
Bailey Turner swipes away the lead from the outside. The exit of turn 2 down the backstretch, takes it away, and here he goes for his first lap lead on lap number 2. Coming around for number 3, and McWhorter looking to capitalize. Jeff Wright deep in this field, and this is the last opportunity that machine is going to have a chance to get ahead.
I would not be surprised. I would be shocked to see him not come out of tonight staying the points leader. Really doesn't even have that great of a night. Just a solid finish, probably borderline top 10, top 15. That should be enough for him. He has been dominant, title favorite again like we've already talked about. He is tough to beat anywhere we go.
Fighting back on the outside for the lead, the 24. Turner able to hold on to it for the time being. That high line is good, but for how long? I know these tires are going to wear off quickly, and we talked about it a little bit pre-race. It's slippery out here, and saw some guys in practice deciding to run and try that out up on the high side. Maybe later in this race, you're going to see that become the dominant way around this racetrack.
We've seen it at other tracks so far this season where that groove will move up indefinitely. Kind of saw that at Kansas earlier in this season, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it at Atlanta. 1 and 2 is pretty easy to run up there and be fast. 3 and 4, a little bit more tough, a lot of bumps up there, so I'm not sure if that groove will even come in.
McWhorter challenge for the lead. He went to the inside in 3 and 4, and here comes Eric Hutton. A lot of different names early in this run, finding their way up here to the top podium spots. Deep in this field, though, a lot going on. You're 2x2 from 12th on back.
Basically a super speedway. We get used to this a lot at Atlanta because there's so much room at this track, whether it's a super speedway or not. These drivers use every inch of the track. You'll see high, middle, low, as we're seeing already so far.
Riding on board with Ben Baffert, gets a little bit loose there out of the exit of 2, has the 15 of Alex Bell peek to the inside. 71 Mean Machine, Ryan Carwile, didn't get to talk about that during the pre-race, but how about that paint scheme? That one, not so much a throwback. In essence, it was a throwback to a throwback. So I believe it was Kurt Busch that ran this car in reference to Talladega Nights. So technically it has been on the racetrack, but here today for Carwile, a different number on that machine. I think really and truly one of the most iconic paint schemes that never was.
There's no doubt about that. I love seeing it on the racetrack. I've loved those types of paint schemes when you're thinking outside the box. I remember I ran a number 3 throwback. It was like a prototype of what Earnhardt could have ran. It was like half blue, half black. It was very, very odd, but I ran it in a throwback, and I just love that type of creativity.
22, Gavin Pittman has worked his way up 2 spots. Alex Bell up 8 positions. These guys just outside the top 10 trying to get around Ryan Carwile. Ryan Chambliss is the last car in that top 10, and he is challenging Jeff Wright up 7 positions. These guys on the move already early in this race, but Bailey Turner coming by to lead his 7th lap now here on lap number 9 beginning. The 1.5-mile oval has seen a reconfiguration. I actually prefer this style of racing to what the old Atlanta used to bring. The slip, slide around, save your tires, go for the long run. Well, there's no shortage of that here at SNR.
Yeah, that is something you're going to have to focus on in the long run, because even though this track gets very treacherous, you're almost very rarely ever going to see a lot of yellows at this track. Let me knock on wood real quick. This is usually a track that, even though you're slipping and sliding, part of that means that these drivers get very spread out because there's a big skill gap at a track like this. So you're going to see these drivers usually, most likely, get on their own and be able to run their own race. So that's something that could get us some green flag running today.
McWhorter tried again there coming out of the exit of 2, wasn't able to get anywhere with it, and he'll fall back and lose a couple tenths. Starting to move up the racetrack again here in 3 and 4. Going to get a big run on the 24 car. Let's see if he can go anywhere with it. Turner playing it really smart. He's not allowing McWhorter to get that outside, and that's probably what he's going to have to do to play defense.
And that's what we see at a lot of tracks, but definitely Atlanta, that high line, you're probably going to be trying to pass on the bottom, but that high line is going to be very good for keeping someone at bay. They're not able to get out to the outside wall to get that run out of the corner like they probably need to clear. So we might see some slide jobs come into play later in this race. You might even see it now.
When you watch McWhorter scrub so much of that speed off coming out of the exit of turn 2, he actually slid in behind the 24. And how many times this season have we seen guys dive to the inside and they're still neck and neck at the exit of the corner? Not the case here.
I just remember a race at Chicagoland like that where it got pretty rowdy, someone throwing it into a corner. We've seen that all season long at the mile and a half when someone's trying to battle, because a lot of mile and a halves we go to hard to pass.
Did you just bring up the last lap at Chicago? I can't believe you did that.
I might have.
Yeah, that was, I mean, as far as action goes, that just shows the talent level and the skill that these guys put on, the show that they put on every week. That's that's wrapping the whole season and condensing it into one race. All of the things that we saw coming down to that last lap.
Yeah, it was probably the craziest finish of the season, no doubt. We've had crazy finishes over about 1 3/4 seasons of Saturday Night Racing League. That might have been the craziest with Ray Massey taking that checkered flag, but Ray Massey not really having the luck in the points that he probably expected, below that cut line, even though he's a race winner this season.
Riding on board with Max Cost in the 63. Little Chase Elliott-esque to this machine. On the outside just now was the 43 Bryce Shoemaker. He's going to pick up a position, but this is back 17th, 18th position. Max Cost on the fringe of being knocked out of this top 12 for the chase. He needs to have a good day today, and I mean exceedingly well if he wants to make that top 12. He probably just needs to go up there and nab a top 5.
I would think so. He had nothing go his way last time around, so we're just going to have to see what happens for him today. Dropped out of that top 12. I believe Lakatis himself, and there's one other driver. They're separated by like 1 point on that cut line, so it is incredibly close. It's going to be a fun battle.
Jeff Wright to the outside. He's going to get around Johnny Rapp on the 52 machine and pick up 7th position. Caleb Weekly just in front of him will be the next vehicle on the list for the 48, and the yellow flag is out. It's Jerry Bergeron, and big damage there on the backstretch.
Oh, he destroyed that.
83 machine of Kyle Peacock is also involved.
Yeah, he destroyed that thing, no doubt. Wow.
Take you back on the V-Speed instant replay. A throwback within a throwback here.
Gotta love it.
That's a tough break there for the one car. He came in here today pretty confident. Talked to him pre-race. See what happened. I don't know. Maybe it gets loose. Nope, car off the wall. That's the 5. So Mark McFadden comes down off the wall on the exit of 2. Gets hooked into the left rear. Let's go on board with Mark McFadden into 1.
Mark McFadden seemed like he was maybe struggling a little bit through 1 and 2, running that middle line. And it just seemed to me that, well, running the higher line, it just seemed like kind of came down the track, maybe.
Yeah, the car was tight, too. You could hear it. He was on and off the throttle several times trying to find where that car was going to hook back up, and it never did. Once he got to the exit, it was just not a good position there for the one at Bergeron, and that'll bring out our first yellow. It brings out some guys to pit road. Bailey Turner came down. He's going to be the first one out of the cars that hit the pits. So everybody in the top 4 with Cabot, Baffert, Martinez, and I'm going to butcher this again. Ganekin, I believe, is the pronunciation of this. I don't know why I'm getting dyslexia with this one, but yeah, the 27 will be the last car of the cars that did not pit. This is track position. This is all this is right now, Connor. You got to get up here to the front if you want to avoid things like we just saw.
Yeah, you got to play track position at certain points of the race, but you're also trying to guess what's going to happen so far this race, doing a little bit of your own homework, just trying to see what happens, what strategy works, what strategy doesn't. We don't have too many laps on the tires, but 15, 16 laps is plenty to wear those tires out to the point where they might blow later in this run. So these drivers have stayed out. Excuse me, they got to be pretty darn careful.
So the 27 of Ganekin actually comes back down to pit road that second time around, and he's decided that, well, 4 tires, not worth the track position being back here in 4th. Maybe he was trying to get a lap lead. I'm not entirely sure, but 27 back down pit road. So now it's the top 3 that have stayed out. And our first caution with Mark McFadden, the 83 of Kyle Peacock, the 1 of Jerry Bergeron, all involved here today. Take a look through your field here and look at some of these throwback paint schemes. There's McWhorter and Turner with their throwback. Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, of course, and Angelo Horonis sticking true to his paint scheme, but just behind him, Jeff Wright. I want to see how accurate it is. I'm a stickler when it comes to a Terry Labonte scheme, so it looks legit. Well done.
Looks pretty solid to me, but I especially like the Gordon and Martin schemes being right next to each other. They were such big rivals for so long, and that stint. So I love it. I absolutely love Jeff Gordon schemes. It doesn't really matter what Jeff Gordon scheme it is. Was a big fan of his, so Bailey usually doesn't miss with those.
So Caleb Weekly with the Danica Patrick throwback. So we get set to go back, doubled up. I mean, say what you want about nostalgia and living in the past, but really and truly, these cars today, compared to what they used to paint, I have a hard time, and I don't know about you, Connor, but, watching it on TV, that next-gen car, it's rather difficult sometimes to pick guys out. Back in the 90s and 2000s, if you had a favorite driver, it was pretty easy to identify them just based off of, simple just color scheme.
Well, your brand identity is it's way different in our sport than it was 30 years ago. It's way different than it was, heck, even 10, 15 years ago. There's not many partners in the sport anymore who will sponsor a full slate of races. Last one I could think of was kind of M&M's. They backed out of Kyle Busch. But like you said, back in the 90s, Mark Martin ran Valvoline usually. Jeff Gordon, always the Rainbow Warrior DuPont scheme. Terry Labonte, the Kellogg scheme that Kyle Larson's throwing back to in real life. That's going to be sick to see on the racetrack, but there's a big difference as far as this sport goes today, but it is cool to see these schemes tonight.
So a trip down memory lane, and the 14 of Ben Baffert inside Adam Cabot for this restart. Into the restart zone, green flag is out. We're back live and racing, throwback night, restart number 2. Already Martinez feeling those old tires, gets stuck in the middle here, 3 wide for 6th position. On the outside is Jeff Wright on the fresher tires. And look at them go. What a difference just 20 laps made.
Big difference. Yeah, these guys are going to be really struggling to do anything of sorts on these older tires. They're kind of just going to try to hold on and hope they save a set and don't get lapped.
Jeff Wright is going to utilize every inch that he has through 3 and 4. Comes around for 2nd position. He goes from 7th to 2nd, all within a lap. Now to the outside line. He's going to try to make a pass on Bailey Turner.
Guys are all over the place. This is kind of what can happen when you get different strategies. You usually don't see it happen this early in the race.
Well, that sets it up right now. The top 3 probably regretting their decision to stay out on the racetrack and not get those 4 fresh tires. Jeff Wright not able to pass the 24. Good defense there through the exit. This is something else you're probably familiar with. Seeing 2 Hendrick cars leading in Atlanta, that happened all the time.
Happened all the time. Heck, that happened only 13 years ago, and that pains me that finish was 13 years ago. But yeah, even on older tires, that high line is still going to be tough to conquer. I think it won't take too much longer for Jeff Wright to make that work, but Bailey's just doing anything he can right now.
So Jeff Wright probably saving a little bit extra as well. Not going to push the issue as we have a move back here for the 3rd position. Eric Hutton to the outside of Joseph McWhorter as they go out of the exit of 4. Going to take the high side through 1 and 2 and carry that momentum. See if he can complete this pass. 32 struggled to get around. He's actually really loose there on the exit of 2. He's going to slide up behind Eric Hutton, and that'll dial it down for just a moment. Hutton still playing some defense, slides up in front. They make a little contact there in 3.
That's really close. These drivers are all they're driving the wheels off the thing. And I'm just shocked to see the aggression this early. No track position matters, but you also want to save the tires. But these guys are not giving an inch.
Looking off the back of the 24 machine of Bailey Turner. He's going to be side by side with Jeff Wright briefly there through the exit of 2. Again, the high line prevails. He pulls back out ahead of that Tony the Tiger Kellogg's machine. Deeper in this field, though, you go back to about the 11th, 12th position. To the inside here is the 22 of Gavin Pittman trying to make a pass on Chuck Sweeting.
Chuck Sweeting, we try not to talk about him because we know what's usually coming, but he has had a few better races, more knocking on wood so far. He's had more things go his way as of late, but he still needs to get a string of good luck going. He needs to get consistency. That's been a struggle, just not getting the finishes. Nothing to do with how he runs, but needs to find a way to stay out of trouble if Pittman's been working him over, and Pittman's just trying to get something going for his own season so far.
The old tires for Alec Martinez. He's fallen all the way back to 24th already, and the freight train continues. Also for the 14 of Ben Bafford, these guys saving a set, but you got 5 tire sets available here tonight. Is it worth the gamble? I don't know that this pit stop, 20 laps in, and Cabot also in the same boat. These guys are very much struggling. The entirety of that top 3 has fallen out of the top 20.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised to see that happen. I know you want to save a set. We saw that loom large at Milwaukee a little bit, but this is going to be different. This is going to be a little bit more of a stretch, I would say. 140 laps here. I don't really think it's going to come. You just need the yellows to fall correctly, right? I mean, if you don't get the yellows to fall correctly, this is all for nothing. You got to gain this back on your own. You're really hoping for not the long runs. You need another yellow soon enough for that strategy to even start to actually matter, really. So we'll see if they get fortunate, but I'd prefer to see some green flag running.
Of the 4 tires, Bailey Turner leading this pack. He took back over the lead pretty early on that restart and hasn't looked back since. He's had a couple challengers. McWhorter's still going to work, trying to get around this 24. As we saw at the beginning of this race, he tried several times, wasn't able to complete the pass on the inside. He's getting ginormous runs here on the outside, just not able to do anything with it. Jeff Wright back to 3rd. It'll be Eric Hutt and Angelo Horonis, the top 5.
Horonis looking pretty solid right now. He's another one who's had some solid runs here and there, but not able to really consistently put that together. He isn't completely full-time in the series either, so that has a part to do with him, but he's someone who could always pounce at any moment and get a race win and steal one. It's kind of like we saw Ryan Truex do in real life today at Dover, so I'm always looking at that Horonis machine to maybe do something late in these races.
Alex Bell trying to get around for 9th position. Peek to the inside of Caleb Weekly. Outside prevails yet again. Starting to single file out here in the top 10. And also a little bit of a spread here between, the 4th, 5th position. Horonis a little far back. We haven't really gotten a green flag run on these tires just yet, Connor, and it's going to take a few more laps before these guys know what this car is going to do over the longevity of this race.
And we're starting to see like a pattern. If you're in a pack that everyone's running the top, no one's going to really go to the bottom because they don't really want to get stuck on the bottom. But if they got a bunch of guys running on the bottom, you're not going to see a lot of drivers running on the top because they're just trying to save their stuff most likely. So starting to see packs here and there kind of doing similar things, which is not surprising to see at Atlanta. But like you said, single filed out. And like we see a lot this season, the front runners really just pulling away.
To the inside for Alex Bell on Caleb Weekly. This is for the 8th position. Good defense there by the 13, that high line working. I think the only reason the 15 got to the inside, Caleb kind of made a mistake there on the backstretch and now way up the racetrack, but he's going to get a good run here out of the exit of 2.
Yeah, solid run. Another solid run maybe in the works for Caleb, just trying to bide his time, but you can see just how big these runs are so far tonight.
Racing just in front of him, that's Brian Chambliss in the 9, Caleb Weekly in position just behind the guys side by side. There's a peek to the inside of Ryan Carwile. The top 10 kind of on their own area code, starting to pull away a little bit here. Chuck Sweeting slowly inching his way back. Right now, if you're Sweeting, you're just happy. You put it together at Iowa. You got the race done. You got a top 10. Now it's time to start stringing those together. And I know with the 75's luck, I'm just happy that the situation's turned around for him here as of late.
Yeah, definitely still have some bumps in the road here and there, but definitely seems like he's on the mend, and we'll see what can happen this time. I'm interested to see. I know he's capable of winning, I think, in my opinion, just as much as the 48 can sometimes. So he just needs to start stringing finishes together. The race wins will come and fall in his lap eventually.
Oh boy, right there, Weekly gets a little bit high, almost had a moment, so let's get the camera off of the 75 machine. He does not need a commentator's curse here tonight in Atlanta, last regular season race, and the 75 right on the cusp of that top 12.
Right on the cusp. So you got a lot of guys on the cusp of that top 12. It is going to be interesting to see. We'll follow them here and there, try to check in here and there on the guys around that cut line, but it's going to be hard to follow who gets what points. And don't even get me started on bonus points, but all you need to know is that,
simultaneously, Gavin Pittman got contact from the 19, I believe that was. No, that was a 9. Not entirely.
Gamblers.
It was just simultaneous contact between two different guys. Philip Brewer got a little door hug there from the 13 down the backstretch.
Don't know how
Almost
they
had
all
another moment.
straight.
Yeah, kudos to those guys for keeping it the right direction, keeping it shiny side up. That very easily could have turned into an inside wall. We talked about that pre-race as well, what could happen here. You know, you look deeper through this field, there's still very much double file. 52 on the outside. That's Max Koss in the 63, so he was the one that had some contact, and you can see him falling out of this top 10 slowly.
It's not what he needs. He needs to stay up there and make sure he puts pressure on the guys around him in the points. So don't know how much damage he has to that car possibly, but he's got to try to regroup and maybe get back in that top 10.
Joshua Banks in the 35 on the outside. So a lot of these guys have started in this mid-pack. Here comes the 63 down, well, maybe just loose. I thought he was coming down pit road by the way he entered turns 4, but yeah, he's having some problems.
I wonder if the rear bumper is off that car. I can't really tell from the cameras I have. But usually when you're loose like that, struggling to even have speed through the corner, you usually got some sort of rear bumper issue.
Well, a good chance that he picked up some damage after that contact. Doesn't look too bad from that angle. We'll have to keep an eye. Max Koss falling out of this top 15. He's back to 20th.
Fall back really far. This is not the time you want to see a long run happen. If you're falling back, it's just literally worst case scenario. If you get a long run and you're at the very back, you're going to not have enough time to get back through the field because it's just hard to make that work and get back through that field.
7 Machine. Derek Garrison making his debut, I believe. Maybe you saw that name last week. I can't quite remember. The 7 car is up 9 spots. A lot of comers and goers, but most of this top 10 are all on the move here as Chuck Sweeting takes away 10th position. Going to work on Casey Lakatos in 9th.
Lakatos, once again, another one of those drivers that are on the cut line, so he's got to try to keep track position. Saw the issue with the 63 of cost. You want to take advantage of that, but you might not even have to try much harder to take advantage of that if the 63 is having big issues like we think. Let's see.
Swinging to the inside of the 50 at Lakatos out of 3 and 4. Can't complete the pass. He'll fall back in line as they go into 1. Weekly under fire from Philip Brewer, and this is for 11th spot. Battles impending all over this racetrack. And again, throwback night. We've taken a look at quite a few of these paint schemes. The Danica Patrick paint scheme. You've got Philip Brewer in a throwback as well. The Mountain Dew 44. Posted up in chat who you think deserves a vote for the best paint scheme out here on the track tonight. We'll try to get you a look at every single one of them so you can decide. But for me, personally, Connor, it's the 5 car. That's a 48 tonight.
The 48, and Jeff Wright is really sporty. We were talking about Joshua Banks trying to come through the field. He should have thrown back the Gordon's Homestead scheme from 2012 because they're kind of similar situations where it's kind of a question mark as to whether or not they should be racing this race, and both of them are racing their races. Jeff went to victory lane. Joshua Banks could do the same thing.
That would add 4 to the total for the 35 of Banks, 6 to the total. If Wright is able to settle this thing down, it looks like right now Bailey Turner, class of the field, he's led the vast majority of laps here today. 36 out of the 42 that we have began.
And he has been surprising to me. I thought the 17 would be probably a little bit more dominant. We've seen in other races past that the 24 does not have that. He has okay short run speed, but usually not enough to keep a lead, and long run speed's a question mark. Bailey Turner's done a solid job so far tonight.
That's right, very loose coming out of turn 4, but still going to get a run down the quad oval into turn 1. Maybe a challenge for the lead shaping up here soon. 1 and 2, everyone on that white line, but here comes a big run for the 48.
He's got a huge run. He's working that well to his advantage right now.
But you got to be careful here. Gauging these tires, Connor, how difficult is that? Because you can feel fast on the outside. That's all well and dandy, but as soon as that car gets that dirty air, as you're seeing Jeff Wright step out to the high side through the quad oval, even through that portion of the racetrack, the car very tough to handle.
Yeah, very tough to handle, and the one thing about saving tires, you can do as good as you can on a set of tires to keep them on and during the long run, but it only takes one mistake. One slide out of a corner, you slide in the middle of the corner, you get hit, tapped from behind, whatever jolts your car sideways to where the rear tires slide hard, that's all it takes in that tire saving. Anything you were doing is completely out the window and you're hanging on for dear life at that point, almost to the point where if something like that were to happen, you would just change your strategy and maybe pit very soon. So that's something you got to be aware of as well, because these tires do not take any slides well.
Well, speaking of that short pitting and the strategy, Bailey Turner, kind of a master at that this season. They actually picked up a win, pulling some strategy, and it almost worked for him there a couple weeks ago. He came down pit road, the cautions fell, things worked right out into his favor, and the luck just ran out towards the end of the race.
Yeah, he almost pulled off one. He is usually one to do that. He's always a strategy demon. That's one way to put it. So wouldn't be surprised to see him do something tonight, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like he really needs to right now. 48's on him, but Bailey Turner's got a lot of speed tonight. He's got race-winning speed as it runs.
They're going to be side by side as they exit turn 2. Jeff Wright not able to get back onto the throttle as soon as he wants to, and he goes back into the second position. You're going to see this lap after lap. It's so difficult to pass, but the 48 car probably going to figure it out. I'd have to venture that maybe saving a little bit here. They're actually allowing Eric Hutton to catch up to this battle. Jeff needs to get around the 24 right now, or he could be in a situation he can't maintain the lead even if he takes it.
Yeah, Hutton's probably going to be lurking and probably trying to pounce once they start battling and stay side by side. So we'll see how the 88 wants to play this. Hasn't had a lot of experience at the front this season. Has not battled for many wins, if any wins, really, from what I can remember. So this is a great run for him as well.
35 back on the prowl, up to 13. He's trying to work his way into the top 10. He's got those spots right in front of him here. 43 of Bryce Shoemaker in 12th, just in front of these two-car battles. Then side by side, up ahead of him, Adam Cabot, who came down pit road. I guess Cabot decided enough's enough. These tires just aren't cutting it. I'm going to come down, get 4 fresh ones, but he did it about 10 laps after these guys.
Yeah, and we'll see how that works out for him. It's kind of just abandoning ship, I would say, pitting at that point in the run. I'm kind of shocked by that, but we'll see if it works out for him. Not really the start he wanted, I can imagine. I thought he would be dominating this race, but you can only do so much when you make the wrong tire strategy.
So 30th position, started up on the pole. He led 4 laps. Then we had pit stops there for that first caution. He's fallen out of the top 30 and out of the lead lap. Challenge for the lead, heats back up. Jeff Wright dove to the inside in 1 and 2. Wasn't able to complete it again, and now Eric Hutton is also into the mix. If you're Hutton right now, where do you go? Because Jeff can't get it on the outside. Hey, you can't really go to the inside. I don't know. It's a crapshoot. You're kind of walking a fine line here if you're the 88.
Depends on what happens behind him for 4th. McWhorter is in 4th. I'd say run the bottom, just keep the tires on it. Don't go down there trying to make a pass. Go down there just to conserve your tires a little bit, because that high line is obviously going to screw those tires up. Any track would go to, that's the case. So I would say he has to bide his time. If it was later in the race, I'd say challenge, maybe try 3 wide, get aggressive, but not the time for it quite yet.
Yeah, still plenty of laps to go as we're ticking away lap number 50 here for Throwback Night 24. The Jeff Gordon throwback from 2009. Bailey Turner repping those colors in the Celsius. DuPont Chevrolet. Eric Hutton challenging for 2nd just behind them. Adam Cabot on those fresher tires going to probably be working back onto the lead lap here very soon. However, he'll have about 34 seconds to get around.
Win for a well-timed caution. I think he's hoping that when these leaders pit, he can cycle around and maybe keep the lead, but he needs a yellow to do that. All those guys on the tires, they need a well-timed yellow like we were talking about. Cabot needs a lot more than that. He's so far behind strategy-wise. The fuel's probably going to be a question mark as well. We'll just have to see, but this has been a disaster so far.
And also the same kind of boat here. Alec Martinez comes down pit road and looks like parking it for the night. Not entirely sure what the 18 is doing there, but looks like he's done for the day. He's been sitting there for quite some time.
Probably figured that with that strategy call wasn't the right strategy call, thinking this might go green. And when you're just here for wins, sometimes you're not going to stick it out to the end.
So the 18 down pit road, he's 2 laps down. Of course, problems also with hardware could be an issue. As you've seen a few people this season, Connor, who had the race in hand, and the gremlins start to show their ugly face right around the end of the race. It's claimed quite a few guys this season.
Certainly has. Alex Bell, I don't think he's been in position to win many races where it's happened to him, but he had a month or two, not only in area, which is a league we both run, but also obviously in this league Saturday nights where he just couldn't get finishes to go his way. So he just needs to keep this going and just hope. 2 things. He's hoping that his computer can hold up, but he's also hoping he doesn't have to battle Reggie Ortega too much anymore.
Jeff Wright still going to work. He has the 88 of Hutton. This is all for the lead. The top 3 right on top of each other, and slowly creeping into the picture is the 71 of Ryan Carwile. I think it's just a case of Bailey maybe falling off a little bit here and holding these guys up, but he's playing good defense, and these guys not being able to complete the pass has put the 24, the 48, and the 88 all in a situation in the top 3. Well, welcome to the party. Ryan Carwile gonna maybe challenge for 3rd.
I would not be surprised if Carwile was really just holding on, biding his time, watching these guys battle. That's usually Carwile's style here. I remember him doing it at Vegas in the Gen 4 cars last season. He hasn't really had the luck so far this season. He's kind of been snake bitten at a lot of tracks as well. So I would not be surprised to see him run into the top 3. He's been running a very consistent line, not really deviating differently. He's not really searching, because I don't think he has to. He's right and pointed right now, and that car looks fast.
So racking in the points, Bailey Turner going to set up here for another lap led. No one challenging for that top spot. We've had a couple guys dive to the inside. McWhorter really went to work early on the run. Turner almost putting it together several different racetracks here this season. Of course, as I say that, here comes the challenge for the lead. Jeff Wright to the inside in 1 and 2.
He's working over this 24.
Oh, 24 in the wall.
That might be it. That's all he needs.
That was a mistake there from Bailey Turner into 1 and 2. He lost 3 spots, falls back to 4th. And just like that, Jeff Wright, your new leader, has come around for lap number 58.
And that's one thing about that top line. It's the preferred line for defending. You can pass up there, but it is so easy to overstep your boundaries. And once you get into that outside wall, you're pretty much done.
And do you think pressure maybe had somewhat to do with that? Because, you know, Jeff Wright in your mirror, that's got to be intimidating.
Yeah, I would not want to see that in my mirror either, but nothing you could do about it. But just had no choice, just trying to push the inside line.
That 24 car is struggling.
He might be down pit road soon.
Losing another spot here, and now slipping and sliding through 3 and 4. The 15. Uh-oh. Well, hey, let's think back to Phoenix the last time these 2 cars were running side by side.
Yeah, we'll see what happens this time around. I think Bailey Turner would be ready to pit soon enough. He's really struggling after hitting the wall. Might have knocked the toe out. Might have a tire going down as well, because he was really running hard.
Trying to hold on to that lead, and it prevailed for a while. Just, again, back to that simple little mistake, the miscalculation through the entry and exit of turns 1 and 2 puts the 24 back to 5th. He has the 9, Brian Chambliss, working to get around him. Back deeper in this field, though, we're going back to talk about how important tires are. Adam Cabot has found his way back up to 19th after hitting pit road. Everyone else came down during that yellow flag. He and about 2 others. Speaking of which, the 18 was in that list. wasn't very many cars that stayed out. 3 in the top 3. We had a 4th one that came back down to pit road. I believe that was the 27. Now, if you're Cabot, what's the game plan? How do you adapt this race? Because you're on an entirely different stint than the rest of the field.
Yeah, this is good. Something you just got to completely regroup. First off, got to get back in line. You got to get your psyche sorted out because you're probably upset about the bad strategy call. But you just got to try to stretch these as long as possible, I would think, trying to catch some sort of yellow. There's really nothing else you can do at this point because you're so off strategy that I don't think you don't even have a chance of getting back on strategy and keeping decent track position. So he's going to have to run these long and just hope for yellows to fall his way.
Bringing the energy here today. There's the 18 of Martinez down to the bottom. He is being scored 2 laps down, so I would have to venture to say possibly a whole penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
think.
Oh, here we go. Pit stops.
There we go. This is kind of around when we expected most drivers to come down.
So that Dale Jr. throwback paint. It's driven by Kyle Peacock in the 83. Of course, 11 laps down for that machine. But here's Angelo Horonis, the 52 of Johnny Rapp, starting what would be scheduled stops. Connor, now at this point, you just got to be perfect on and off. This race could go green to the very end.
Yeah, you cannot make mistakes. It is a sort of tough pit entry to get to, but you got plenty of time before those cones come up on you. So while it might be a little bit tight, you have plenty of room to not speed. So it looked like it was a mistake by the 18 of Martinez that took him out of a race earlier in the season. One of the races, I think, it put him far behind. So you just can't not afford to do anything dumb like that.
Well, we say that modestly. I mean, the mistakes, it's so easy, and we say that it's tight here. Watch this entry right here for Jeff Wright as he calls down to pit road. It's tight on the window, but it's very loose coming in.
Yeah, it's a transition from the banking to the apron is going to get you kicked sideways. You got to be aware of that as well. That's why you got to check up a little earlier than you probably anticipate doing. If you haven't practiced it during practice session, you're going to be out to lunch and probably lose a lot of time. It's another important thing. You don't want to be too conservative. I know it's crazy to say you can't make a mistake and then you have to go as hard as you can, but that's really what the finesse is. That's the finesse you need at these, entering the pits. You have to do that. And Jeff Wright's been pretty good at that over the seasons.
Every single lap, I would say, is you gotta mitigate the mistakes, but push it as hard as you can. Be conservative at the right time. Yeah, it's there's a fine line when they talk about finding that line and riding it. As we ride through 1 and 2, some old tires, new tires, 71, 18. I believe that's the 44 of Philip Brewer. Oh, it's chaos down the backstretch.
Look at this. This is what happens when you have different strategies during a green flag cycle. These guys get all over the place.
That is 4 wide through 3 and 4. Jeff Wright, they're still trying to wreck him here with Carlisle and Brewer just in front of them.
How in the world have they gotten through this? I wouldn't say not yet.
They're not so through it. They're buying time here.
Let me not speak too soon.
Right, it's very loose.
Uh-oh. This is incredible.
Putting on a show here. Saturday night style, that's what we love to see. The different tires, the different strategies. Back here 3 wide. Offset here with the 18. Now we're coming 4 wide.
I've never seen more. I don't know if I've seen more 4 wide at Old Atlanta.
This is where you pucker up right here, Connor. These guys on older tires, you're in a situation where you're picking off guys that, the hold penalty from the 18. The 15 is obviously on much fresher tires, only 6 laps, but he's got max cost, a little off the pace here coming out of 2. He's going to get clear. I think we got through it this time around.
I won't speak too soon, but we're at least further out of the woods than we initially had seen. And you got angry driver Martinez, the 15's trying to gain track position on the fresh tires. These drivers are pushing hard because you need to make up time on fresh tires. Even through lap traffic, you got to kind of thread the needle. You cannot lose time. It's pretty important to make everything up possible on fresh tires.
Ryan Chambliss still out on the racetrack. We have about 5 cars that are still out there. Adam Cabot, of course, part of that group that pitted after staying out, made that little miscalculation, and so they came back about 7-8 laps later. But here's Chambliss trying to find pit road. It looks like maybe, or just letting guys by. He is way up on the outside. Now Chuck Sweeney goes by. it's Chambliss, Turner, McWhorter, and Brandon Wallace, the cars that have not hit pit road yet. I think for every lap this goes on, and there's the 24 sideways. That's the 32 of McWhorter that got into him.
Yeah, that was incredibly tight. I wonder if Chambliss had the tire down or something, being that slow on the racing surface. He could maybe saving fuel. I wouldn't expect that to work, but I don't know. Chambliss has played strategy to win here before. I was just really, that was far too slow, I would think, to make anything like that work.
It wasn't really, I don't think it's, oh man.
Can't imagine. It's, oh, goodness.
Yeah, I think the 24 a little out of control there. He got it gathered back up, but the 32 was still trying to find the brakes and got into the back of Bailey Turner after the slide. Let's go on board there. Let's go on board. Back it up one more time here. This is going into the entry of 4, and here they come down pit road. You can see really wide entry, but the 24, I think, gathered it up just in time. Yeah, into the back of them. And that's unfortunately off the racing surface, so no yellow flag. They're just now getting back out on the racetrack, and you know, Bailey Turner, who had stayed out trying to play a different strategy, that's out the window now.
Yeah, certainly out the window. And yeah, just too late committing off the apron, I would say. That got him a little too far slowed down. I don't think McWhorter was really expecting him to chop in front of him as well, so it's unfortunate. I don't think those two have seen eye to eye a lot in this series either, so I'm sure both of them are upset at the other, but either way, they both kind of ruined their races for the time being.
Ryan Chambliss has brought it down pit road. That'll hand the lead over to the car you just saw on your screen previously. That's the 14 of Ben Bafford, who will take it over on lap 71. He was one of the earliest cars to come down pit road. He has 17 laps on this stint. He is half a second ahead. Bryce Shoemaker there on the outside up to second on lap 71. That brings us to our halfway point. And Connor, I think you already know where I'm going with this, but this is a prime opportunity to get loud here with 29 graphics.
Throwback style, how about it?
Let's get loud by 29 graphics, and another proud supporter here for the Saturday Night Racing League. Alex Bell challenging for the lead here. He's way up on the outside. Connor, I didn't expect this. The 15 really showing some speed here.
Kind of came out of nowhere, I would say. Didn't really think he was close enough to battle, but he is hungry to get in the victory lane once again. Look at
he is
this.
very hungry. Clint Boyer taking over the lead.
He's going for it for sure. This is everything he's got right now, I would say. I think he's trying to get this track position now, and he wants to drive away later.
Yeah, and I mean, take a page out of the 24's book. We watched Bailey Turner play defense on the outside, but unfortunately not able to clear, and that allows Jeff Wright back to the outside. Bell got the lap led. That is helpful, but he's going to have to do a lot more than that if he wants to hang with Jeff Wright, who's been pretty much the only other challenger for this lead all race long.
Yeah, 48's been strong. It's been 24 and 48. 24's kind of out of the equation, so you might see some more newcomers. We saw Hutton up there earlier. McWhorter, obviously he was taken out as well, but 15's trying to have a good run. Maybe some momentum into the playoffs, into the chase, I should say. Looking pretty strong, but didn't get the move done.
So here's another scenario that I'll throw out there for everybody in the chat, the me car. I mean, right now he's out there racing with no corporate sponsors. No one's doing anything to put this car on the racetrack except for him. And right now, he's on the freshest tires in this top 5. I look to see the 71 possibly challenging for the lead. He's going to get around Eric Hutton here very soon. Hutton also on very fresh tires. But it's been a gamble here. When you want to pit versus the lap traffic, the guys that are staying out, stretching this run, it did not pay off for some of these cars. You saw it with the 24. You saw it with Casey Lakatos. Some of these guys outside the top 10 right now, they just want a caution to reset this.
There's a lot of people who want a caution. It's probably the only drivers who probably don't want one are 1 and 2 right now. And heck, it might only be Jeff Wright who doesn't want the yellow. Even Max Bell might welcome it. These drivers are dying for a break. This is one of the most physical tracks in sim racing to drive. All the bumps that you're going to feel in your steering wheel, especially if you're in direct drive. VR especially is probably going to take a toll on you, but that's really anywhere. These drivers are wanting a little bit of a break. The only break they're going to get at this rate are those pit stops, and you only get about 15 seconds.
Yeah, a little break. That's all they need here as you're riding on board with the 50 of Casey Lakatos. I would have to say that as far as demand goes, a direct drive wheel just intensifies it.
I would think so, and I've never had much experience on direct drive, but just hearing drivers who have had that experience, it is a workout, but it makes you better from what I've heard. You know, you get more feel in the car, but races like this that just feel like they probably drag on and on, not much of a break, it is certainly grueling.
But I'll be a firm believer that, yeah, a direct drive probably does help improve. But I always I put it in the perspective of, well, have you ever heard of a scuff controller? Anybody that's out there playing first-person shooters, I think with the direct drive,
controller,
yeah, any kind of controller that, you know, maybe makes you 10% more of what you already are. So, you know, we're not saying go sign up right now and spend your last dime to maybe improve. I think a lot of it just boils down to track time, and you're seeing it right here. Some of these guys, you know, 4,000, 5,000 plus I rating, and they've got 5,000 laps logged at this place in a practice session. It just boils down to just getting seat time, and you could really be one of the best with a Logitech, you know, G25 if you want to be.
Yeah, we've seen it all the time. But by the way, if you do buy a direct drive, we're not liable. But yeah.
Yeah, watch your wrists.
A lot of it does come down to seat time. That's why I've never really upgraded. I got single monitor, not direct drive. It's all about just feel. And there's a lot of people who just, you know, it really trumps any other feel you may have. Uh-oh.
We have a yellow flag out on the racetrack. Where did it come from?
Trying to look for it.
Maybe? I mean, Brewer came down pit road. He was in the stall when this comes out. Let's see if we can go back on our replay and figure this out.
I'm trying to look. I'm not finding anything currently.
McFadden's in his stall. There's no telltale field, very spread out.
I don't think, I'm not sure if it was the I don't think, I was really confused. I'm not sure.
Caution lights come on there, so I'm not seeing this anywhere on the racetrack.
Yeah, we got a
ghost yellow.
Could have been a case when maybe a case of someone immediately resetting, alt F4ing. I didn't see anyone disconnect, so I don't think it's any sort of that. Maybe some, kind of confused. It's like Vegas when they shut the lights came off. They came on their own. Maybe that's what happened.
Jeff Wright wins the battle off of pit road. Alex Bell, actually 71 at Carlisle, gets around Eric Hutton in this pit stop, and he'll work his way up to third. Told you look out for that 71 machine. It looks like he felt the same way. Let's see if we can figure this out. I'm going to go back one more time. I want to look here. No, this car's off the racetrack, so there's really nothing that I can find telemetry-wise that dictated a caution. And, I mean, help me out here, chat. Check the 13. That's where we're going here. Gmall Weekly might be really upset as we come across the quad oval.
Yeah, I'm a little confused for sure. But definitely seems like that, yeah. I don't know. It's definitely, I'm sure a bunch of people, we're talking about how everyone wanted to break, but I'm sure the drivers who are actually in a groove and probably enjoying their time are probably a little bit unhappy about the yellow. What this does is probably make it no stops to the end, which means that you're not going to need to come down for another set of tires. So really saving a set didn't matter for those three. But this pretty much makes it a dogfight to the end, no doubt.
There it is.
Oh, well, we found the culprit.
And kind of losing control there through the quad oval is the 13 of Caleb Weekly. Kind of shot a little bit bad out of the exit of 4, didn't set up that quad oval quite right, and the car got loose, lost it to the outside wall.
Oh,
it was right in front of the 17 of Adam Cabot.
And Cabot able to avoid, but that was not something I've really ever seen in an Xfinity car. I've seen in like the 87 style Cup cars or like the car tomorrow. You have so much horsepower where you're basically sliding through the dog-legged tri-oval. I've never really seen that in an Xfinity car. Really tanking the right side.
I'm looking through here. I wanted to get a quick chat here with Ryan Carlisle, but I don't see him hanging out in this Discord directly. So right now, as it sits, I really want to know what this guy's game plan is. He's been on point. He's been hanging around these leaders, been in the top 4. Even when the field gets spread out, he's kind of the last guy that's matching the pace. I just want to know if we get another round of green flag stops, very good possibility of that. Would the 71 car find his way maybe short pit, or what's the strategy here? I got to know.
So I think you're going to be able to go on fuel, so I don't think you're going to see many short pits happen, but I'm sure if someone thinks they're off the pace and needs something to go their way and maybe has to try something different, someone near the back might try something like that, but I don't think Carlisle will.
Yeah, it's going to be really close on fuel. We're talking about, about 54, 55 laps, somewhere in there?
Somewhere around there, 85% fuel tank. Maybe it'll get even more tight, but I don't know. I kind of feel like this should be in the window for some drivers to be able to make it work.
Well, let's ask Bailey Turner. If he can make it, then we know.
Anyone can.
Yeah. That's who we dictate all of our fuel mileage off of, is the 24 machine. Unfortunately, back in 25th position. However, he will try to pull a strategy like that as we get set for our third restart of the night. Saturday Night Racing League, final race of the regular season, and some wheel spin there for the 15. He checks up the inside.
Oh, really tough time for that to happen. Got to be aware of that wheel spin. It's horrible at this track, and he got bit by it.
And it looks like he's still suffering from it here as they come out of the exit of turn 2. Up to the outside. Here comes the 35 of Joshua Banks. Haven't talked about him tonight. Had to serve a penalty after last week's fireworks. He brought it down pit road, got his, I believe it was a 30 or 40 second hold, and now he finds himself completely 180 here tonight into the top 5.
This has been an incredible turn of events for him so far, trying his best to kind of rid the demons, get rid of that, just put that whole week out from his memory, and the race wouldn't be the best way to do that.
Oh, that absolutely would delete everything from my mind. The only thing that matters is victory lane at this point, especially if you're one of these multi-time winners. You have 2 of them up here in the top 5, actually the only 2 this season, and then the other race winners kind of scattered throughout this field. Some guys that have had problems, Bailey Turner, I believe Hutton's part of that list. There's so many guys that are just not having a good week.
Yeah, Hutton was top 3. He has not been in contention. We'll see what happens to him today. I'm kind of expecting that 88 to be aggressive tonight if he's in that position later in this race, but so is everyone. This is the final race of the regular season. I believe we got an off week before the start of the chase. These drivers are going to be going for it at a track like this. They want to win this throwback week bad.
And on a limited schedule here, this is Alec Martinez, another guy that won. I believe it was Dover that the 18 car found victory lane, and had just a really great performance. Started deep in that field and was able to win just over Jeff Wright towards the end of that race. And he had another season or another race where he just about put it all together and ended up finishing second. So, you know, overall, it's quite a few guys that, had they ran a full-time schedule, they could have been up here in contention with the 35 and the 48 right now.
No doubt about it. I'm sure Alec would probably be, I'll just say it, I think he would be the favorite if he was running full-time. He's got too much on his plate, but he's still fast whenever he does get behind the wheel of a virtual car. And, you know, we've seen that proven at Milwaukee Mile, Dover. He almost got the win away from Jeff Wright at Pocono. Not sure if it's going to be, he needs a little more to go his way tonight, but he's still, you know, he's going to be trying his best to get back in position tonight.
Battle for first, battle for third. 35 gets around and gets clear of the 88. Here's a run on the outside from the 15 of Alex Bell on Jeff Wright.
He is trying everything he possibly can right now.
And you can't blame him here. You got to be hungry. You got to want it really bad as he comes off a turn 2 down the back straightaway. Alex Bell has led a lap here today, but he has not been able to maintain the lead. Maybe a slide job here through 3 and 4.
Gonna try it. This is tough to do. We're at that point in the race where we're starting to see people throw all sorts of sliders.
48 laps to go as they cross the line. Jeff Wright under a heavy challenge from the 15. Alex Bell getting dirty air through 1 and 2. Jeff Wright moves up the racetrack to make sure that 15 doesn't get the run on the outside. That's really been the only line to overtake here, is to take the high line. Pushing them down the back stretch, all over the back bumper of Jeff Wright. Good defense there.
All over him.
Jeff's being really smart about it, though, and here's another run on the outside. 15 now to the high line and 1. He's keeping that left front right on the outside. He's going to pinch him a little bit here on the middle, but he's just not carrying that speed. I think he'd be better off to commit to the high line on the entry.
He might not want to commit to it right now. That could be part of his thinking. Just trying to maybe, you know, like we were talking about earlier, cautiously aggressive. That could be a part of his thinking right now.
So the challenge for the lead still shaping. 15 car around the outside. Looks like maybe this time, nope, it's Jeff Wright again on lap 94. But we have officially changed the hands back and forth. Race recap up on your screen 11 times here today. Granted, some of those coming during those green flag pit stops. Now a little problem back there deep in the field. That was Ryan Carwile. I think Max Cost slid down to the inside of the exit of turn 4 or the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, it looked like he had some sort of issue. Didn't see if they both came together or not, but somehow kept it straight, looks like. Kept it green at least.
The battle back up here to the lead. I want to go back and talk about that wheel spin that the 15 had on this restart, where he had checked up, and we were just looking at Ryan Carwile. That cost the 71 a lot of spots. He has not recovered from that.
No, he hasn't. It's going to be really tough to do it at this point in the race. Not many laps left. Might need a yellow or something.
Really tight there for Jeff Wright. Now the 35 of Joshua Banks into the picture for the lead. Three-way battle. He's going to choose the outside, try to follow Alex Bell. But Banks looking for maybe another one to add to the win column just before the reset. He's going to get the speed in the run out of 2. Jeff Wright under fire. When you start to put the pressure on him, let's see what that Tony the Tiger can do. Dives to the inside in 3.
Really dove it down there, really struggling to get the power down as everyone right now. They know this is probably the battle for the win, no doubt, unless we get some sort of crazy yellow. They know this could be it.
Alex Bell definitely knows that. He gets another lap led, but Jeff Wright with the pinch down into 1 and 2. High line for the 35. 3 different lines here for the run out of turn 2. Eric Hutton, the 7 of Derek Garrison. working his way 3 wide for the lead.
This is incredible stuff right now.
That's the battle you want to see right there. The possible bye week here, if you could call it that. The top tier prospects for the championship. Battling it out at Atlanta in the last race of the regular season. 48 prevails, dive to the inside for the 15. That checks up Banks, and he slides all the way back to Hutton for 4th.
This is a team sandwich.
Not gonna work.
And oh man, these guys are really pushing the 48 right now.
That little check up there created the situation. Banks got such a good run on the outside of Bell. I think Bell has used it up at this point.
It seems like we know how hard he pushes short run, and it seems like it might be a case he might have pushed a little too far this time.
Reggie Ortega in the chat. This is the action you came to see right here on V-Speed. If you're enjoying what you see right now, hit that subscribe button. You'll never miss a single race of the Saturday Night Racing League. The throwback night for the last race of the regular season here on the V-Speed Racing Network, and I have enjoyed every second of this call. Connor, what a race here today. Makes me think they made a huge mistake repaving and steeping up this banking.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. Old Atlanta is where it's at. And you know what? What we have now puts on good races here and there, but there is something about slipping and sliding. You just can't beat it.
You can't, and the talent split here, it kind of levels off. You take Atlanta to new, and it's a restrictor plate, so essentially everyone has a chance to win. You come here, everyone has a chance to win because one of these guys is going to hit each other. I mean, look how they've been on top of each other now for 25, 30 laps since we went green. 3-way battle for the lead. We've seen that a lot this season, but not like this.
Yeah, this has probably been one of the best battles I've seen all season. This is incredible stuff right now.
35 of Banks out of turn 2, loses the nose a little bit, but Jeff Wright really, really tight off the exit, opens up the door, and Banks going to get the run to the inside in 3, carries the speed. Jeff Wright smart about it though, kind of pinched the entry. They're going to slide all the way up and use every inch of that 40 feet out of the exit of 4.
I don't know how they've made this work so far. These guys are giving it every single ounce of talent they have.
On board here with the 48 machine. Watch this wheel coming out of 2.
These guys are just out of it. I don't know how they've kept it the way it is right now.
And off the back, able to prevail. Now Eric Hutton going to try. How many cars are going to take a stab at the 48 machine? Almost some contact.
Are any of them going to even be able to do anything? I mean, this is incredible. I don't even know what to say. This is not what I expected.
Doesn't happen very often here on V-Speed when we have a shortage of words. We get paid to talk, and right now the action speaking for itself. The 48 car has been jabbed. They've poked and prodded. They cannot get around. How about that Hendrick machine? It's just the throwback scheme has to have some kind of channel of energy here today at Atlanta. When you want to go legacy, you got to commit to it. And right now, the top 5, all contenders for this championship.
This could go anyone's way right now, but could also go neither of their guys' way right now. This is like ingredients for a big old wreck. I can't stress enough.
It's a train wreck. You can't look away though, Connor. You have to watch the whole thing all the way to the end.
Yeah, with both eyes kind of you're probably wincing watching it. I know I am.
Yeah, this is East Palestine, Ohio, and you're ready for it, right?
Exactly. It's probably the best way you could describe
jump
that.
right in the wall. Eric Hutton's loose into the grass. 3-way again.
How in the... This is unreal.
And Joshua Banks just cashed out.
This is
he slides up the track.
Oh my goodness.
And somehow Jeff Wright comes back with the lead.
That is unreal. How in the world did he get back there?
And Hutton, with the looseness across that quad oval, fell back to 4th. He has Garrison on the inside. Jeff Wright still playing defense, a block there through the quad.
These guys are going to be very risky with the blocks. It's not you don't really want to be blocking here at a track like this. That could bite you.
I want to just say that there are other race cars on this track, but the battle for the lead has been so intense. Here's a guy that was battling for the lead earlier. Alex Bell has fallen back to 10th. Joseph McWhorter on the outside. There's Ryan Carwile just behind him, outside the top 10. We've got Casey Lakatos, Bryce Shoemaker. These guys, Alex Bell actually peeling it down pit road, so this might be the sign that they can't make it to the end of this race.
And we might see later, there might be drivers at the back of the field trying to make it work. We'll just have to wait and see. But like you said, that might be a telltale sign. I wouldn't be surprised if this 9 car would try it. He's a guy, I mean, he might not even be positioned for it, but Chambliss has been a guy in years past. He makes it work at this track. Someone else might try it right now. He's 20th. Bailey Turner's 18th. Like you said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised he might try something.
And I'm hearing, well, let's not give away the strategy, but I'll give you a guess. I'll give you 2 guesses. You're only going to need 1 of what's going on here with the 9 car right now. Listen on board.
That's definitely a telltale sign.
That's definitely a strategy if you want to play it. Taking a page out of Bailey Turner's book. Back up front, though. Battle for the lead has subsided quite considerably. If you want to think back to what just happened a moment ago, it's shaping up again. 88 of Hutton to the inside of the 35 of Banks. Another challenge for second. All the way to the bottom of the racetrack, hugging the white line. 88 of Hutton cannot get clear. He's going to be side by side coming out of turn 2. Another car into the mix. This guy making his second race of the season.
He could easily steal this one. No doubt about it.
Sneaky.
Yeah, we got another pit stop. Here goes Banks. First one to blink. One of the first to blink from the front.
So out of the top 3, Joshua
Bailey.
Banks, first one in.
He's brought a lot of other drivers in. I thought no, not Bailey Turner. Didn't see who that was back there, but number of drivers, at least 5 came down, led by the 35.
Looks like the 32 of McWhorter, 63 of Max Cost. So a few takers down the pit stops. Is this the call here for Jeff Wright?
I'd be shocked if he didn't try it now, but it looks like he's going to go maybe try to get some fresher tires than the 35. We got another pitter in the back. Might have been Garrison, I believe. So at this point, he already beat you to pit road. He's going to get back in front of you no matter what. So at this point, you might just want to try and just get the freshest tires possible and run this dry. But if you run it dry, you're probably going to pit close to the end. So saying that, you don't want to run it dry. We're almost in 2-tire territory with how little laps we have left.
Well, if somebody wanted to try it, I would put it on Eric Hutton to make that gamble. He's been known to do that and come up with some wins. Carnes Chevrolet Camaro all over the back bumper of Jeff Wright. He's kind of being pushed ahead, kind of being guided towards that front. Jeff Wright all the way to the outside.
Watch this, through the middle, here comes Baffert. This is going to be tight off the corner. They got to be aware they're 3 wide. Don't forget the lap traffic. No, not quite.
No? We didn't thought about it.
Below the white line, that is legal. Got to be careful. Wright's going to chop it to the bottom. We'll see if he's pitting. He's too far up the track. Here comes Bell. He's almost into the side. He is pitting. They might have almost made contact. Him and Baffert might have made contact. Here comes Angelo Robinson.
Man, can you make it any closer than that, Jeff?
Oh my goodness, I thought we were so far up the track that was not gonna happen. That was wild.
So here's the battle down in which we had a glimpse at 4 wide, and then here's Alex Bell out of nowhere. You're gonna see him come out the top of your frame, actually out the left side of your screen. Hey, Jeff.
That was, I can't believe that worked. That shouldn't have worked.
It doesn't work anywhere else, only here at Saturday Night Racing.
That's been the theme of tonight. Everything that hasn't been, it shouldn't have worked. Most of it has. It's just kind of a theme.
What are physics for 200 days?
Oh my goodness, this is incredible stuff. This has been, this might be the best of the season right now.
Well, we've tried to top it every single race here in the Saturday Night Racing League, but you knew it was going to be special when you put the word throwback on it. Eric Hutton leading this race, trying to get to pit road. Can he do it successfully? Wiggle wobble, here he finds it.
Oh,
and a little
man.
Little Kim block action to get down there on that apron, but he gets it in there. Alec Martinez just behind him. Now cycles Ryan Carlisle in the Me 71 to the point. Chuck Sweeting in second. Casey Lakatos, Bailey Turner, Ryan Chambliss. Remember the strategy that we talked about earlier. He's still on it.
And that's not surprising whatsoever, but I don't know if he's far up enough for it to work, as someone ahead of Bailey Turner got sideways there. That might have been, I don't know if that was Banks, but someone got sideways. But you got to be far up enough for it to work. I'm not sure if Chambliss is going to be. We'll just have to
I know somebody
see how it
else
plays
that might
out.
be. And he's doing the same thing.
And not surprising to see a number of drivers trying this. A lot of drivers might just be saving fuel, not only to try to make it to the end, but if you catch a yellow, everyone else is probably going to have to come down and take another set because the grip difference is just too severe. You can't stay out on older tires, especially near the end of a race. I would not be surprised to see that be a possibility strategy-wise.
Well, Reggie, I hate to disappoint you, but it looks like it's going to be exactly that. We have some guys out here trying the strategy right now, but it's shaping up to be one of those right on the edge moments. We're stretching this out 50-plus laps, and some of these guys that have been out for a long time. You got Adam Kavitz here in the 7th position. He's been out here 45 laps on this stint. You got 34 laps for your leader, Ryan Carlisle. Casey Lakatos, 32. Brian Chambliss probably has the most realistic chance of making it right next to Casey Lakatos. They are both at 32. If you wanted to stretch this out, those are the takers. But into the draft here with the 24 of Turner. Top 10 right now. I don't know, man. It's really, it's going to boil down to, did they start saving early enough? Was this premeditated right out the gate?
We'll just have to see. It's going to be, I mean, if you were trying to make this stretch, and if it's a close stretch, you're almost certainly, you would have had to start saving at the very beginning after we went back green, I would think. But, you know, some drivers might have to try to do it on the fly. I would not be surprised for that to be the case. So we're going to see probably a lot of drivers on fumes by the end of this race if they're trying to make it work.
So drivers that did come down pit road, you have Johnny Rapp, who hit pit road first with Alex Bell. He would resume the lead if the cars in front of him do hit the pit stops. And Brian Chambliss gets around the 50 of Lakatos. The 24 of Turner also around to get by for third position. All these cars in save mode right now. If they're going to stretch it out, Chuck Sweeting, this could be a turnaround day for him. He needs this, like we said at the beginning of this race. He is on the edge of that top 12, and for him to have the season that he had every single race and still find his way into the chase, wow. I mean, that right there is noteworthy in itself. That's a championship drive and an underdog statement, if you will.
Yeah, it would be something for him, but he's got a long way to go before we can really start talking about that for sure. But he has ran ahead of the 50 of Lakatos. He's about a second and a half in front of the 50, and he's pretty well ahead of Max Koster position right now. So things are looking okay for him, but we got way too long to go as the leaders are about to take 19 to go. Carlisle just took it at the line, as a matter of fact. And he is still clutching and coasting a little bit.
I don't know if Chuck goes back and watches these things, but if he gets to this point in the broadcast, I just want to remind him of the one that could have been, where yours truly was able to edge out the 75 based off fuel strategy. So hopefully, maybe he'll think back to that moment. Yeah, a little arrogant, a little cocky. Doesn't happen too often here in the V-Speed booth, but I was able to beat the 75 one time, and ever. Doesn't happen. That 75 is usually pretty strong.
Guys who hit the pits starting to battle. Johnny Rapp's just being passed seemingly by Joshua Banks up ahead. Banks looking to the inside. Rapp is, I don't think he has the tire to really battle that one at all. So, but Banks in front as far as I believe everyone who's pit. He is the race leader, and then it's Rapp, McWhorter, Bell, Jeff Wright a little further back.
Remember, Wright pitted a lot later than these guys in front of him. He has about 6 lap fresher tires than Alex Bell. And if these top 5 can't make it all the way around here, you know, obviously Cabot's going to have to pit. There's no way he can stretch this out.
No chance.
He's just hoping for a yellow. He's 51 laps old on these tires and fuel. 85%, just no physical way that's going to make it. Right now, Jeff Wright, freshest tires on the racetrack, really. Angelo Baronis also on kind of that same strategy, but you got the 14 back here. Bafford he's on the prowl as well. 15 to go. Better hope you can make it if you're up here in this top 5, because outside of that, you're done. This is you've committed to this at this point.
Yeah, you can't just change the strategy. If you've been clutching and coasting, you're doing that until lap 140, or until you're confident you can get to the line under power. And the one thing about this track, this is a lot of tire wear at a track like this, but as far as these drivers clutching and coasting and saving fuel, they're not too much slower, and that's going to even out more and more. Banks ran a 33.4 last time by, Carwell a 34.7, Sweeting a 34.6, and they're still about 12 seconds back. So if that trend keeps up, that time difference, I think those race leaders would get there, but that should even out in not too much time, and that would be the best case scenario for those guys. As Wright is looking, he actually just got by McWhorter. They both got by Rapp. Cabot's coming to 15 to go, so that's how short he was.
I was watching here with Ryan Chambliss getting around, Chuck Sweeting, Bailey Turner also making that pass. I think the 9 car is in the green here because he seems to be driving it hard in the late stage of this run.
What I'm wondering if Bailey's kind of pushing him to go a little faster. They're both right on each other's bumpers. So this could be a case where Chambliss knows Bailey. He might not know if Bailey's good or not, but that 24 is going to push him. Maybe try to run the 9 out.
Yeah, and these guys can put themselves in a situation doing that, though, where the 24 may be pushing the 9 of Chambliss. They both end up using up enough fuel. They're back on the clutch now, so obviously Wright's still on the line. Carlisle getting caught a little bit there that time by. They were just about a tenth faster. 32.0 for Bailey Turner was actually 0.3 faster than your leader. However, goes back to they didn't save that lap. They're going to turn it back on. I don't know right now. Maybe another Nostradamus moment here on V-Speed where we predict the winner. I've been watching this 71 all day long, and I knew that he had a potential, but I thought he was going to do it with raw speed. Unfortunately for Reggie Ortega, this could be a fuel mileage finish.
Yeah, 1.5 miles, or 1.5 seconds he lost to Jeff Wright last time by. He's got a 9-second gap. That math isn't good for the 71, but if this does even out, it would work out for him, but not seeing that quite yet. One thing that would help these guys saving fuel is if Banks, Jeff Wright, and all these guys who pit battle each other a little bit harder. Wright hasn't gotten to McWhorter quite yet, though, or excuse me, Wright hasn't gotten to Banks quite yet, but he's clear of everyone else. Ben Bafford's on pretty good tires. He was 0.2 faster the previous lap than the 48, but he's still got to get by the 32.
So Jeff Wright able to make it around all these guys, but we're looking back there with the 52 of Johnny Rapp, Eric Hutton side by side through 1 and 2. These would be the cars that would be in the top 5 if this front 5 can't make it. This is 10th position, gets around. Eric Hutton's going to be clear. Jeff Wright, Joseph McWhorter, Ben Bafford, Joshua Banks, all these cars trying to chase down. On the back bumper of Lakatos. Actually, that is the 5. Mark McFadden.
And one thing
about just ahead.
Yeah, and one thing about these guys who are trying to make it on fuel, trying to manage the fuel is one thing, but these tires are going to be dead by the end of this stint. Carwell hasn't hit since, lap 85. These tires got to go a long way. These guys can't really go this long on a set of tires, really. Caleb Wheatley just had another moment in the tri-oval, but these guys are stretching the tires to the point where it might be the tires that run out before the fuel even.
And the 13 car looking really sketchy there during that last caution. Not sure if he's having a technical issue or what exactly the deal is for Wheatley.
We're 3 wide in the tri-oval here to 70-18. Johnny Rapp's on the top of it all. Alec Martinez trying to kind of surge here late for anything he can get. Gets by Garrison and Rapp. And Hronis is going to follow him through.
The 18 of Martinez had kind of got off the strategy, but he's finding his way back to the top 10. Hronis to the bottom now of the 52 of Rapp.
Jeff Wright's pretty much on the bumper of Joshua Banks.
You can see those cars. You're 8 laps away, and you're about, 4.5 seconds back from the leader, 2.5 back from Sweeting. Here comes Cabot to the inside, much fresher tires.
Lap down, not a factor, but he is going to probably play a factor in that battle with the 35 and the 48. Get some dirty air on the nose of the 35, something Banks hasn't had. This is the best thing for Carwell, Chambliss, Turner. These two need to battle hard. and I'm sure they will, because this is for the win if they can get up there.
Saw it a lot there during the first part of this stint. Took the green back on lap 1. Well, actually, I think it was about lap 87. I think we went back to green flag racing. Very limited cautions here tonight. Saturday Night Racing League, no shortage of action. 16 lead changes, 2 yellows. We're winding down to just 8 to go as we come out of turn 4. Ryan Carlisle on the save mode. The fuel mileage starting to pan out for this top 5. They are committed to it. Some cars that have fallen out of it. Casey Lakatos, he is outside the top 10. He is in extra save mode. Can he even make it to the finish? That doesn't bode well for this guy right here. If Lakatos, Turner, if some of these guys start falling off, which they are on the verge of.
Yeah, it's right now. Chuck Sweden's in a good spot because he and the 50 are on the same strategy. As long as he can make it, he outpoints the 50. He's most likely in, so he cannot afford to run out as Banks gets by Bailey Turner. Jeff Wright's going to follow him through. 14's lurking, but he's not there quite yet. And I'm starting to see that gap come down between the 71 and the 9. It's still pretty far out there by about a second.
We're going to get 5 to go this time by 35-48. Chasing down Brian Chambliss. Here they go into 3. Chambliss, that car on the red, right there on the bottom of the racetrack.
He is trying to get any sort of run. Remind me of 2011, just with a different 48 paint scheme on that thing. He got to Joshua Banks, but he's kind of been stalled out ever since. Still seeing Ben Baffert put up times rivaling those top 2, but it seems like as far as pitters, it might be the 35 and the 48, but they are not gaining quite enough on the 71 currently.
They still have to get through Brian Chambliss, which could be enough defense for the 71 to hold on. Shaping up to be at the line, 4 laps to go. Chambliss just behind here. He's shaving down the lead to 7/10. He is catching up to Carlisle this time by 2/10 faster.
Baffert just got by the 24 of Turner, and yes, Joshua Banks a 34.298, so he pulled away a little bit. That was still 7/10 faster than the 71. Chambliss is starting to turn up the heat. He's trying to get there before anyone else gets to the 71, but he is still not far. He's not close enough to really challenge for that position, and this might be everything he has at this point.
We could see Brian Chambliss in victory lane. We could see Ryan Carlisle, Joshua Banks, any one of these drivers here in this top 5 still have a shot. 3 laps to go. Saturday Night Racing League throwback night. Let's throw away the points after this one. We're going to reset everything and bring you the championship 6 races. A little off week here next week as we get set up for what's...
Ooh, we got a spinner on turn 1. There's not going to be a yellow, I don't think. Bryce Shoemaker's on pit road. That stays green. Meanwhile, it looks like Banks is probably going to get the Chambliss maybe this lap. 3 more miles of gas. Do they have it?
Got a car in between Chambliss as well to play defense for him. All the way up to the outside. That's the 20 machine.
He came up in front of a 35 there. That's really going to slow them down.
Oh, and he's loose off the exit. That's not going to cancel it out.
I think Carlisle, if he can make it, he just needs the gas at this point. I don't think Banks and Wright can get there in time.
We're talking about just over half a second. Banks is going to lob that car out of the exit of 4. He's sideways, still struggling. 3-way battle for second, but it's Ryan Carlisle in the lead. White flag is out. One more time around. Can Ryan Carlisle make it to the finish? It's Jeff Wright and Joshua Banks in the top 3. Battle for second, side by side out of 2. Carlisle into 3 and 4 for the final time today. He's going to do it off of the fuel mileage. He's going to get the win in the final race. Throwback night. Ryan Carlisle in the 71 Me machine is victorious at Atlanta.
What a job. That is incredible. Incredible job being fast enough to make that work. That is a bold strategy call to make work, and how crushing that's got to be for Joshua Banks and Jeff Wright to be short. Pit stop too long, possibly as well.
And if you're Jeff Wright right now, leading as many laps as you did and finishing third, you got to be frustrated. But it just boiled down to strategy and some of these guys short pitting. I mean, so tough to pass. But when we had that caution there towards the end of the race, it set up the 71 perfectly. He knew the assignment, and he got it done.
It was just a heck of a job. He withstood the pressure from Chambliss, too. Well, he got out pretty far enough to the point where Chambliss just couldn't pressure him quite enough at any point. So that's, I mean, you can't say enough how great of a job he did.
And now going to burn it down on the front stretch. The first win this season, Ryan Carlisle, your victor. Saturday Night Racing League regular season has concluded.
And it might not be anyone with more momentum going into this chase than that 71 after that.
Post-race interviews with your top three. You're watching SNR live on V-Speed. More coverage is going to continue. Stick around, guys. We got more after this.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Back live at Atlanta, and no, not that Atlanta that you're seeing on your screen, the one that actually brings some action here. What a finish. The final regular season race for Saturday Night Racing League has concluded. 140 laps here today, and Ryan Carlisle is victorious. Final results up on your screen. Joshua Banks and Jeff Wright, who pitted within a couple laps of each other, just not able to catch back up. They had everybody except Carlisle in their crosshairs. They just couldn't reach him. 7/10 is all that separate him. Brian Chambliss, who also on that same strategy gets a top 5 here today. Ben Bafford, who was matching the speed of Banks and Wright, just a little bit slower on and off pit road, he'll fall back to 5th. Eric Hutton, who was part of that three-way battle, we saw lots of action up towards the front. Pretty much every time we looked away from the lead, something happened, so we kept the camera up there for a lot of this day. Joseph McWhorter, also some laps led, 7th place for him tonight. Alec Martinez, good recovery. He started in 25th. He finishes 8th. Bailey Turner is going to round out, well, actually in 9th position, Angela Huronis is going to round out the top 10.
And yeah, just Joshua Banks, Jeff Wright, one more lap. Who knows, the 71 run out of fuel. Maybe they just get to him naturally, but getting by everyone else is what really dampened their efforts and put them just a little bit short of the win. Chuck Sweeting, a clean day, which is important for him. Maybe not a top 10 on that strategy, but he gets 11th, and that should be, you know, unofficially, that could be good enough to get him in that top 12 chase. Johnny Rapp, 12th place. Garrison into the 13th position. Derek Garrison, I should say. Then Dakota Floyd and Clark Ganeckin in the 15th position. Max Koss, 16th. Not really the run he needed, but look who he finished just ahead of. Casey Lakatos 17th. Keep in mind, they were separated by 1 point. Lakatos was 1 point ahead of Max Cost coming into tonight. So I don't know who, if anyone of those two got bonus points, but either way, that is incredibly tight between those two. Then Stephen Davis, 18th. Alex Bell, he had contact. We saw the 43 crash late. He had partial contact with that 43, kind of causing that. He finishes 19th after pit stops didn't go his way. And Adam Cabot really just got behind strategy at the very beginning. Only a 20th place. He won't be happy about that.
Yeah, and he started on the pole. He had the speed for sure. Unfortunate for the 17 here for his SNR. I believe only one other race here for the 17 car. So pretty much a debut here just before the end of the regular season. Brandon Wallace is going to come home 21st. You have the 20 machine of Jacob Emery going to finish 22nd. Bryce Shoemaker, who spun there on the last few laps with about, I think it was 6 to go or so, and the no yellow flag, thankfully, but he'll round out 23rd. Mark McFadden, 24th. Philip Brewer, 25th position. Caleb Weekly, heavy damage, had some problems through the quad oval, brought out our second caution of the night. He'll finish 26th. Jerry West in 27th. Dustin German in 28th. Kyle Peacock, early problems down the backstretch, heavy damage on the 83, 29th. Gavin Pittman, also a car that got some damage from that, 31st. Chad Klinger and Jerry Bergeron on the end of this, and I believe Klinger up in the Stewart tonight for the 09 team. I don't think he was actually turning laps. I think he was up in the booth here watching over this race, but what a race it was. Let's catch up with your top three. The first driver that I'm going to bring in here, well, he needs no introduction. We're going to talk to the guy that had 5 wins this season. He put together a great show. He put together a great league. 10 top 10s, 10 top 5s. The stats, they don't lie. You're the points leader at the end of the regular season.
Yeah, man, it's awesome to win that regular season championship, get those bonus points heading into the chase. But, man, tonight, what a race. Super big congrats to Ryan Carwile on the race victory. But, man, we're all just talking amongst ourselves here in the Discord channels of just how much fun that was tonight. Slipping, sliding, hot racetrack, a worn-out racetrack like Old Atlanta. And that might have been the most fun I've had in a long time. Wish we could have got the win, obviously, but nonetheless, you can't be too disappointed seeing Ryan in victory lane. So he earned this one for sure, and he's been a big supporter of the league for a long time.
Well, and I can guarantee you, as much fun as you had out on that racetrack, you did not have as much fun as me and Connor did up here in the booth. I mean, every moment of that race was just another thing that defied physics. You know, you could put out there that a lot of other leagues, if the quality of racing that you guys had, even when you were right on the brink of wrecking these things, you were still able to come out the other side, whether it was lap traffic or a battle for the lead. It goes on and on, Jeff. Kudos to you guys for this regular season.
Yeah, you know, and that's what Old Atlanta produces. You know, you're going to be on edge. That, you know, the tires wear out so dramatically here that, you know, after you're, 20 laps into the run, you basically cannot get full throttle. You know, even on the straightaway, sometimes here you're just spinning so much tires. So I'm excited to watch this one back. Glad you and Connor up in the booth had a good time. Cool to see all the throwback paint schemes for throwback night tonight. Big shout out to Kyle Peacock for painting this awesome paint scheme, this Terry Labonte 2003 throwback. He did an awesome job with that. So it was fun to sport that paint scheme tonight. Wish we could have got it in victory lane for him, but can't be too disappointed with the top 3 and the regular season championship.
Well, and I'm just trying to get a little graphic here together for you. It's kind of on the fly here, Jeff. But while we have you up here in the booth, is there anybody that you can think of that you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, just everybody. I mean, V-Speed, you and Connor Horn up in the booth as always. It's going to be probably one of the better broadcasts to watch back this season, so I'm excited to do that. All the league admins that helped put this thing on. And then obviously Kyle Peacock for painting the car for me tonight. So awesome to run this paint scheme. And like I mentioned, wish we could have got it in victory lane, but can't be too disappointed with the P3. So.
Well, there it is up on the screen. Regular season champion here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Jeff Wright, with his 5 wins, 10 top 5s, and 10 top 10s. Congratulations, and we look forward to teeing off that post race and that chase in 2 weeks.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
So there he is in the 48, moving on down pit road. let's find your second place finisher and also I think he's going to cycle out to about the fourth position. Noah Mahalski did not have a good performance here tonight. So I think you're going to stand to probably gain at least one spot here before we hit postseason points. But Joshua Banks, second place. I know it's a little frustrating because you got ahead of the guy that you were kind of rivaling all race long. And then somebody else was like, well, I'm going to try something different and take it away.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm surprised I'm right up here. Uh, Going into this, I thought I figured something out earlier with some other races I've done and could apply it here, and sure enough, it worked out pretty decent. You know, we had tire left, we were able to compete and get to the front. Heck, after the penalty, you know, I didn't know how that was going to go. So to be able to work through the field and get up to the front here and contend for a potential win, I mean, that's a win in itself. Being able to get up here and compete, you know, so I'll take that for sure.
You had a penalty to start this race out. I don't think we really covered that too much here tonight. It was kind of on the back burner, and I apologize for that. But you kind of started behind the eight ball here today. I don't know how much detail you want to get into that, but here tonight, you were kind of set up to not have a good race, and you overcame that.
Oh yeah, we had to go in the pits, wait to go a lap down for the penalty. Um, you know, I'm not going to go into it, but we had to get a one lap penalty, and it put us behind. And I was just hoping for a caution, and then luckily we got it, got us back on the lead lap, got on the same cycle, and then from there we just started working through traffic, you know, and just being patient with everything. I knew we had good, decent pace for top 15. You know, I was kind of gunning for that, not sure how it really would be unless we got up front and see how our speed was. But once things started clicking and where I could see, where our pace was, once that one, let's see, what was it? I think that one caution we had that stacked everybody up. I was up in the top five, and then that was the real kicker where I was able to see if I was able to keep up. And sure enough, we were able to keep up with Jeff and Bell and Ryan. I mean, Eric even. I mean, it's just everybody up front there. So it was cool. It was fun. It's the most fun I've ever had in Atlanta there. Um, Definitely one of my top five, probably top three races I've done. Even though it ain't a win, it's still one of my top favorite races I've done.
Well, and Joshua, the final question I have to ask is on the blue and the red. Is that a V Speed themed color scheme out there, or did that just happen by accident? Because I'm kind of seeing some resemblance here, and I might have to give you a cease and desist.
Well, no, it's actually based. The colors are exactly based off of Mike McLaughlin. I can't say his last name. Mike McLaughlin paint scheme back in 1998. It was a Bush scheme he ran through 98 and 99 seasons. It was the Gould pumps, Gould pumps Chevy. And I had that car as a little bitty die cast, and I still remember it to this day. And so I was like, I saw it and was able to find some stuff to get a scheme put together and make it look pretty daggum close. So don't think it was because of V-Speed. I know that now that you mention it, it does it looks pretty close. It's pretty dang close, but it's actually I pulled the color code from the exact decals and everything, so it's not from V-Speed. I can promise you.
Yeah, you'd have to get with Adam. I don't issue that kind of stuff, so I care nonetheless. Let's go through the stats here. We got very off topic. My fault. 3 wins here this season, 6 top 5s, 8 top 10s. Unfortunately, the races that you had that were bad, they were bad enough that they kept you out. But just here at the end, you find your way up to that top 3 to finish, and I think you're going to be sitting pretty in the points. Joshua, anybody you'd like to shout out here?
I mean, just you got to shout out, like I said, to the paint scheme, man. We got to throw it back to Mike McLaughlin and the number 34 Chevy. We're throwing it back to that. Definitely not a big name or, big scheme that everybody knows about, but, it's cool to represent the car, put it up front at the end. Matco Tools on the scheme as well, AB Motorsports. You guys up in the booth and V-Speed doing an awesome job. Hopefully the broadcast was fun to watch. And definitely 2 broadcasts. Thanks for the admins doing what they do, even though they give me the penalty. But I know I needed it, so it's not their fault. So, but thanks for the admins doing what they do with the league and how they put on a good show every week with a bunch of guys we got here every single week. Definitely made the racing more fun, and we just move on the next week. And everybody up front racing well. We did a great race. put on a good show, slipping and sliding everywhere. Just shout out to everybody up front, even throughout the whole field, just putting on a great race.
Well, it was an excellent season, and the regular season concludes 30 plus cars. You come out in the top 3. Congratulations, Joshua Banks, and we'll see you 2 weeks at Auto Club.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
That's your second place finisher of the night, the 35, Joshua Banks, and we're moving down to victory lane with a surprise victor here tonight. It's going to be the 71, and we have Connor Horn down there in victory lane with Ryan Carlisle.
And I am down here. It's a pretty crazy scene. Led 26 laps on the alternate strategy, saving the fuel. Ryan, you saved just enough to get to the end. Even had enough to do at least a few burnouts, it seemed. Just incredible stuff. I don't think anyone really expected you to do it, but you were able to do it, and you had enough room to make this work. Were you surprised that those two didn't get to?
Yeah, I was very surprised. I saw they were coming. I was trying to save just a little bit extra so I could push hard at the end, and I think the tires just equaled out, even though I was like I don't know, like 25, 30 lap older tires than they were.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like the tires were wearing out, but we were kind of talking about in the last 10 laps that those tires would eventually even out as long as the tires survived to that point, and it certainly seemed like that ended up happening for you, but you obviously weren't the only one on the strategy. The 9, a little bit further back than you, ended up trying to catch you back, but wasn't able to do so. How much were you trying to manage the gap? Were you trying to manage the gap to the guys you pit, or were you really just focusing on the guys on your strategy?
I was mostly focused on the guys on my strategy. It's a little hard to look further down the order until they showed up on my screen. But yeah, I was looking back to Brian, and I kind of knew like I had 3 seconds to play with a little bit, so I think that helped out because I pushed really hard the last like 5 or 4 laps. So I think it worked out for sure.
It definitely worked out for you, ending up getting a decent enough gap to not even have a challenge for the race victory. 0.7 of a second separated you and Joshua Banks. Obviously, you've been pretty decent in the points this season. You came into tonight 6th in points. Most likely you might move up 1 spot possibly, but either way, top 5, top 6 in points. You had a solid regular season. It seems that I would think you have most momentum going into this chase run. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, for sure. I think winning the race, yeah, definitely gives you definitely a big boost. I think besides last week, I've had pretty good speed at the other few races before, like Milwaukee and stuff. So I think I have pretty good momentum.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that. Great run tonight. And obviously, we've given you time. Anyone you want to thank, sponsors or anyone who helps you iRace, and also a description of the paint scheme and the thought process of bringing the Ricky Bobby scheme onto the car.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the movie. Plus the Kurt Busch. I think he did this at Talladega.
Yes.
So honestly, I was just like, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just started browsing on the Trading Paint showroom, and John Rubino did this scheme. So I just matched the numbers and hit the race this car button, or race this paint button.
Yeah, so definitely incredible for you, and definitely gave it a good ride. Probably the best ride it's had since the movie actually came out, because I believe Kurt unfortunately wrecked it. You're able to bring it to victory lane, so congratulations to you, Ryan Carlisle to victory lane, leading 26 laps. The winner at Atlanta. Thanks for talking to us, Ryan. Congratulations. You have a good night.
Thank you.
So that finishes out the season for Ryan Carlisle and his. I mean, he put together also some great stats as we look back here with his 3 top 5s, his 8 top 10s, and now getting rid of that goose egg in the win column. Did it in good fashion the last race of the regular season. It was a great one here on V-Speed. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I say it every week. I'll say it again until you're sick and tired of hearing it, and you just click the button. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed tonight's racing. It was a fun one. I had a good time. Well, I hope you get this back. We'll probably review it a few times here with some shorts on the YouTube. Make sure you tune in Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll go live for the Overtake iRacing League Truck Series. They're going to be on race number 4 of their playoff series. And then it's more Overtake iRacing League, BTDY, QSR, Xfinity Series. I mean, just racing goes on and on. Plenty of action here on V-Speed. But for everyone behind the scenes here at V-Speed that makes it happen, Adam Baker, who was in the chat here tonight, doing all the things he does with the graphics. We have so many producers here. Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook, Christian Hill, commentator of the night. Connor Horn, phenomenal job. Thank you, man, for being here. This is Bradley Cooper telling you guys to have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you at Auto Club in 2 weeks.